24 hours and 41 minutes to go for the India versus South Africa final of the T20 World Cup that will be held in Barbados. And we have Nikhil, who has reached Barbados. Eventful flight, Nikhil, from where? From Guyana to Barbados?
Yes, eventful in the sense I got to my hotel room at 3 a.m. Yesterday was very hectic because we started early morning at about 6, 7 in the morning, went to the ground, finished the work from the ground, and then the post-match show and everything. And then we had to run to the airport because we didn't have a flight out of Guyana. So we had to reach there in time and hope that both of us get into the chartered plane that the ICC had organized, because there were no commercial flights available. We'd been trying for a month. And then luckily both of us got a flight each. We were in separate flight, me and Vikrant. So I came with the TV crew. He got the flight of the Indian and the English team like we had done earlier. But anyhow, we've managed Barbados. We've done the Guyana leg, which at one point seemed impossible to do because there were no flights available in or out, but we managed it. Thankfully, it's behind us now. India have won and we've reached Barbados where connectivity is far better. But the thing is that we landed here post midnight and we were at the airport for 2-3 hours for our bags to come, and there was no sign of the bags coming. There was a bit of a chaos there. Eventually, after 3 hours wait, we did get our bags. I did, Vikrant did not, so we still can't trace his bag. But we know a couple of places to go to. But yeah, all in all, we are here. A lot of people said, forget the bag, you guys are here, you will be able to cover the game. And that's what is most important. You can see the beautiful skyline, beautiful ocean right behind us. This is Barbados, the richest of the Caribbean islands and the most well-connected. No wonder you have the finals here like you did for the 2007 World Cup, 2010 T20 World Cup, and like now as well 2024 T20 World Cup, the finals taking place here in Barbados. You can also expect a lot of Indian fans to turn up, unlike Guyana where a lot of them could not make the journey. But you'll expect to see plenty of Indian fans, even a few South African fans on the day of the final. It's now clear and bright and sunny, as you can see, but it's also expected to rain later in the day and probably even on match day. But unlike the semi-final, you know that there is a reserve day for the final, so that's great news. So I think between 2 days, 10 overs a side is what you need. I think you should get a final. But fingers crossed, maybe you get the entire 20 overs. That's also possible. Just to let you know about the Indian team. The Indian team also reached, because of the same flight, they also reached by about 2 a.m. To their hotel, slightly earlier than us, because they didn't have to wait for their baggage. They have enough people, to look after that and bring their baggage. So they reached hotel much earlier than us. Today, no practice for the Indian team because, you can imagine, like they played a game, then took that flight, tiring, reached here this morning, this day. It's only going to be relaxation time because in about 24 hours time, they'll be playing the final. So just relaxing today, no practice, no press conference from the Indian team. Though Rahul Dravid did speak about the final yesterday. So I'll do a video on that on Sports Today and update you guys. But the South African team will have a press conference. They have a practice session as well. I don't know how many players will turn up. That's going to be in the afternoon here. So you are looking at about 2.5 hours from now. It's about 10:30 a.m. So about 1 in the afternoon, that is scheduled. So all the latest update from the South African camp we give you. Even South Africa, they could have arrived much earlier because remember their game was about 12 hours before India's game. But even their arrival in Barbados was delayed because like in Delhi, you had a mishap at the airport. Similar thing happened in Barbados where a very small aircraft, like a trainee aircraft,
Cessna,
had a bit of an incident at the runway, a minor crash. No serious injury reported from that, but because of that, the runway had to be closed. So even the South African flight got delayed, but they still got here a few hours before the Indian team. So they might still practice. If not practice, they'll definitely have a press conference. So that's the latest from Barbados. Already, I met a few Indian fans at the airport, which is why I'm telling you that there's a good chance you will see multiple fans turning up for the game here.
So Nikhil, if you have to look at the contrasting things. South Africa had a very clinical semi-final. India also had a dominant semi-final against the West Indies, against England, sorry. Now, if you look at the mental space as to who is going to be on a better note heading into the final, it will be India or South Africa, from the mood that you can gauge among the fans that are there at this point.
I mean, I think both teams are going to be similar. But yeah, I think if I was to dig deep, I'd have to say, for once, it'll be South Africa under more pressure. And why do I say that? Firstly, it's uncharted territory. They haven't been at this stage, at least at the senior level. So, none of those players have experienced that. And then as a nation, the burden of not ever winning an ICC trophy, I think is going to weigh heavy on their shoulders. So pressure-wise, there'll be more pressure on South Africa. And I'll tell you why less pressure on India. Usually, of course, the expectations from India is very high. And every time the Indian team plays, they are always under pressure. But why I think slightly less? Because I think they have taken that approach. And this is something that we've been talking about on Sports Today. Why is this Indian team different? Because I think they've taken that approach. It's okay. Just give it our best. We've already suffered heartbreak few times in the recent past, and so now we'll go big or we'll go home. That sort of an. So I think that has helped, and it's easier said than done, but I have seen them practice it on the field as well. We saw it even in the semi-final. They're playing like that. It's not an easy thing to replicate, but somehow they've managed to do it. Whether that remains in the final, we'll have to wait and watch, but I see no reason why that is going to change from the kind of approach that they've had so far. Is going to change for the South Africa game. Also, seeing South Africa there, a team against which India tends to do well, which does not have that kind of reputation to get into an ICC final, that does not show that kind of pedigree like an Australia showed you. So I think that's going to help them too. So overall, if you ask me, I think mentally it'll be the Indian team that will be in a better space, and it could be South Africa. Not could be, I think it would be South Africa that will feel butterflies in the stomach, that could be slightly more nervous.
Okay. So you were you able to get a glimpse of the team, and what do you think is that the mood in the team right now? Because what I noticed yesterday was that the team was happy to actually qualify for the final and be in the final, winning the semi-final, but somewhere down I felt that on their faces it was visible that the job is still not done. They know that what has happened previously in 2023. Do you think that is playing on their mind? They know that till the time we're not over the finish line. Till then,
okay. Shashwat, I'm going to quickly answer that question that you have just asked, but there's Vikrant next to me. We are going to be going live on AajTak, so we're just ready. We have time or no? No, we don't have time. Okay, so I'll have to answer that question some other time. Maybe we'll have another discussion. That the question is that can you make out from the Indian team's reaction and body language that somewhere deep down inside they know the job is not done as yet? What has happened to them in the recent past?
On the flight, they look very tense. And they're also aware of the fact that for South Africa, it's also the first final game.
Yeah, exactly what I had mentioned. Okay, I'm going to take your leave here. Just leave you with these lovely visuals in the sky, the blue waters behind me. First time actually we've come on the Caribbean beach. Entire tour, I've not seen a beach in the Caribbean, though we've been staying in places which were on the beach, never at the time. This time, because we had to do a live, we at least have come, not even still gone on the beach, but at least you can see it. First, Caribbean. First time to the Caribbean. Okay, bye.
Okay, Nikhil, take care. Bye. We'll connect with Nikhil. He'll give us updates from Barbados.
he's gone. I was about to say get the trophy with you now.
That will happen.
He's not playing the match.
No, but still he can come in the same flight with the trophy.
If there was time, I would have asked him whether he was in Christchurch Parish, because that's the area where Chris Jordan was born, and he is a local Barbados guy, and that's why. Okay,
But then we were discussing about matchups. Siddharth and I were doing it.
No, just before getting to the matchup. So I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Just talking about the mental aspect a little bit more, just before we get into the technical stuff. what I feel here is that this time what I have noticed different in this Indian team, that is that this time they are not playing on the weaknesses of the other team. What you did in the 2023 World Cup, that was a very big mistake that came back to you. This time, I think I don't think the team is thinking about the fact that South Africa is playing their first final at this stage. They might just choke or all of this. I think it's more about how they are going to mentally deal with this fact. I know it's like Sirvi sir has mentioned it a lot of times that it's 11 years versus 26 years. 26 years. I don't think that is what the Indian team is focusing on right now. It's more about themselves, and I think that is a positive sign, and that should really give you more confidence about this team.
See, it's a clean slate. Whatever way you looked at it, you had fear from two nations. It was England and Australia. You've dumped off Australia with help from Afghanistan. So that's one major obstacle out of your way. You clinically decimated England. If you had gotten the England game to a very close margin, then some doubts would have lingered. Now, the way how you swept aside the defending champions, by the way, it gives you far more doubt that you can brush aside a South Africa, because the chances of them having a bad day are far more, because this is uncharted territory for them.
But Sidvi, that's the exact point what I'm trying to make here. I again don't think that it's about the opponent you're playing. I think it's more about what we are supposed to do here.
No, because see,
That's
India,
what I think the Indian team has done over the years also, since they have not won an ICC trophy.
No. See. During the 2023 World Cup, we exactly know what the Indian team did. Playing us England in Lucknow, we all know why did that happen. So at that point, that was actually Australia and Chennai, Afghanistan and Delhi. So all of these things clearly meant that you're playing on the weakness of the other teams. So that's why I feel that is something that is different right now.
No, I mean, see, if you look at reputation wise, the only time where reputation undid you, when India was undone by reputation, was 2023. That's it. You look at 2019, it was a bad, if you look at it, that bad 45 minutes. 45 minutes. 2017, you had a bad half an hour. 15, you were totally undone by the strength of the opposition.
And that was always expected.
It was expected.
You were the underdogs in that.
But 23 wasn't a bad half an hour or bad 40.
No, that was a bad match.
Yeah.
That was a bad
You
match.
lost it mentally.
And not just that,
they
you
were
lost it
clever.
by tampering on the pitch.
Yeah.
Let's be very honest.
Yeah.
And you did
Stop
not read the
watering the
conditions.
pitch.
I still clearly remember just a day prior to the final, one of our reporters only from the ground actually mentioned this very specifically, that there is a lot of dew a night prior. So I think that was a clear signal to what was to come the next day. And I think as soon as Australia chose to bowl that day, I think that itself showed that they might just have that little edge in the beginning. I know we was in the emotion and everything, so we might not have pointed that out, but that was like a really clever move by Pat Cummins.
No, see, that we have already dissected, discussed, and
It's
ad
history,
nauseum,
Yeah.
it's been done.
Not even history for me.
Here, what is the difference maker unlike previous previous ICC finals, I'm saying?
You were just too overworked, sir.
Too overworked. I'll tell you for two reasons why this ICC final is very different. One, both teams are coming on the back of undefeated runs. I mean, both the teams have never been defeated. That is why this 2024 T20 World Cup is unlike any T20 World Cup.
Yeah.
Number two, both teams have lost crunch situations in knockout matches on a consistent basis.
It is a history, isn't it?
South Africa have done it for 2.5 decades. India has done it for a decade now.
History of heartbreaks.
Now, which team and which facet will collapse on that one particular day? That is why this final is the ultimate lottery. You don't know which team and which facet will choke.
But I don't know if it's a lottery, but yeah, I wouldn't call it a lottery.
No, I mean, you compare it with past finals and semi-finals.
You're
India,
saying
Australia,
nobody's
you were...
starting favorites basically.
No, you were on an even keel with Australia. You were scared of
day of the
Australia in
final?
2023, of course.
For 2023,
No.
2023, all of us had said that India was the stronger team.
Yeah.
On paper, they were the stronger team.
Not even on paper, on form also.
Yeah, on form too.
But
Much
Australia in an ICC knockout, you know that alpha male tendency that they can bring
I don't
in.
think any of us especially were giving them a chance.
No one did.
No one did.
Broad majority was saying that India was the team to beat. They were the team to beat, and what really irritates me, aside from, as Siddharth points out, the fact that Australians know how to step up in a final or a knockout, was the fact that you ended up, it was an own goal. You ensured that the pitch wasn't watered, you tried to make it tricky, and it came back to bite you.
And you didn't even realize that Dio is going to play such a
Forget about that. I am looking at how a team has lost vis-a-vis India and South Africa. Okay, how have India lost? Reputation and a very, very weak mentality in the final against Australia in 2023. Okay, very weak mentality. 2019 undone by 30 bad minutes. Okay, you were much better than New Zealand in 2019. 2015 was the only time you got overwhelmed and Australia blew you away. 17 you were much better than Pakistan.
But again, bad off.
2014 inspirational play. But look at South Africa. How can you justify that you got run out of the last ball but you went out of a chance of a final by 0.01 net run rate? How do you go out of the knockout stages by misinterpreting DLS par?
Why didn't you run down?
Why didn't you know? That was 99. 2003, they thought 229 was the winning total. No, it had to be 229 plus 1.
So 230?
Yeah.
230.
And even in 2007, it was a complete Australia dismantling South
Yeah.
Africa. Like, it was a very unlike South Africa performance because they wanted to attack from the word go, but the strategy did not pay off.
11, 15 and 23. Okay. Inspirational play from New Zealand and Australia. So when you look at even the trend of choking, it is almost on an even keel.
Yeah.
Almost. Which is why this is a lottery. I have dubbed this final as the lottery derby because which team and which facet will choke, that we don't know. India's batting and bowling, South Africa's batting and bowling, if you match that up, India are slightly better in the batting front.
But bowling is an even keel.
Bowling is absolutely even. Nortje, Rabada, Jansen versus a Bumrah, Arshdeep and Hardik when you look at the pace department. Shamsi, Maharaj, Jadeja, Aksar.
Do you think Shamsi would be starting?
It depends
I
on the
think he
pitch.
might.
No, it depends on the
No,
pitch.
even I think he might.
Because
But then if he doesn't, then who do you play? Otniel Batman or Gerard Coetzee?
Batman. You're not playing Coetzee first match in the final.
No,
Forget
yeah,
about
sure.
it. Plus, also with Coetzee, I one thing, and again, I could be wrong, but it's an early reading. T20s don't seem to be his strongest format. He was very good in the ODI World Cup. Very, very good in the ODI World Cup. But T20s, even in IPL, did not really look at home all the time.
Yeah.
There were times where he'd be leaking runs for fun. Now, I think the main choice for them will be, do you go with Botman or do you go with Shamsi? And that will depend on the kind of pitch you have on offer.
Yeah.
If it is going to be a slightly slow kind of a pitch, stick with Shamsi makes perfect sense. Then that means they won't have to make a change.
The other part is why this is an even matches. The two sides have barely made changes.
Only 12 players from both the sides have featured
Yes.
so far in the tournament.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For South Africa, it's been either Batman or Shamsi, and for India, it's Siraj or Kuldeep.
Correct.
So, bowling wise, stability wise, and you could have a reverse of 2023 for one reason. South Africa have won more games. India, one game got washed out. So that's why they won less. But if India win the final, they would have won lesser games, but they'll still win the tournament.
No, but it will get equal, right?
No, I think it is
One game less India.
One game less,
right
yeah,
now,
it'll
so
be
if you win
equal.
the final, it will be equal.
But then imagine the game that you had to win, you won. South Africa till now a flawless run, and this has been a very, very un-South Africa campaign. And that is why this 2024 T20 World Cup is unlike any T20 World Cup.
Yeah.
See, but maybe on one front, I can say that although I am backing South Africa to, win the title, but on one front, I would say India are ahead of South Africa, and it's their number 8 batter. Because in case of South Africa, it's no disrespect to Keshav Maharaj, Kagiso Rabada. They can, play those useful cameos or those handy knocks. But in case of India, look at the kind of difference that Akshar Patel made while coming in at number 8. Although I'm sure that even here also, people would have been surprised as to why an out of form Ravindra Jadeja was promoted up the order ahead of Dubey or Akshar Patel. But then you look at the difference that he made, the 10 of 6,
17 of 9 by Jadeja, 10 of 6
by Akshar Patel. You look at maybe in case of South Africa, if they are, let's say, 35 for 3 after 5-6 overs, then I think you're staring at trouble, because that is where I think they would start to think, okay, primarily our batting is still 6 or 7, and from number 8, it's more about the batters who can just maybe hold one end rather than go for their shots, except from a certain Rabada. So that's where I think India are slightly ahead of South Africa, and that's where my point is also justified with respect to the argument that we had at the beginning of the tournament. That is why you need more options. That is why you need more batting options, because that's how you can play more freely. That is why I was in favor of having 8 batters.
No, I think more than the fact that you have 8 batters, and I don't think that is the main, that definitely is the reason that you are playing more freely. But I think the base of that is the mindset. You have that mindset,
But
that's why only you are playing with that 8 batters.
Supplemented by no. You had 8 batters even in the ODI World Cup, but there were times where until Hardik was there, you were playing with 8 batters because Shardul was your number 8, a more than handy bat in white ball cricket and for the matter even red ball cricket. Now the thing is, you could actually have.
This is a good news.
How is it a good news? I don't really care. It doesn't matter.
No, even I thought it doesn't matter, but then I saw what happened in 2023.
But then, see, and for those of you who are wondering what we're talking about, the umpires for the T20 World Cup final, Kettleborough is there,
But
the
he's the
boogeyman,
third
but he's the
umpire.
third umpire, so he's not the on-field umpire.
So
This is why, if you start blaming an umpire presence for your misfortunes, that's where I think most of the fan bases
No,
have
I'm
lost
sorry.
it.
Oh, you know what people have been talking? You're not thinking about this. People are talking about the fact that there's the photo shoot doing the rounds with Markram and Rohit is standing on the other side. He's standing on the right side instead of the left side. Why? Because the other 2 times when he was pictured on the left side, it was with Pat Cummins there and he ended up losing. So like, he's changed positions. Now, it could very well be true, and I'm no one to judge if you believe in, if there are superstitions involved with sport, we all do it.
No, but I feel
let's
it would
be
be
very fair.
deliberate.
It has little to no bearing.
And I think that trend snapped with the IPL.
Yeah, Shreyas Iyer.
Yeah, Shreyas Iyer snapped that trend. So that's
According to that, it should have been Rishabh Pant and Rituraj Gaikwad playing the final. If that trend is to be followed.
if you look at it, see, the umpires, and by the way, Kettleborough did a very good job in the final. Let's be very, very honest about that.
There's no questions about his umpiring, it's just that his presence.
Not really.
People consider him a jinx.
Yeah, I know. What wrong did he do? There are so many other things which can become a jinx, and that's why I see. Now, if you don't do well and you are concerned about all these jinxes heading into the final, then I think somewhere here, if you lose this T20 World Cup final, if India lose this, it's here.
If not, it has been here for at least 5 years.
Yep.
Let's be honest. If you look at from when the drought started, 14, you ended up freezing because inspirational play, you had no counter. 15, okay, fine, you were overwhelmed by the
Aussies.
clear favorites in that particular tournament. 17 also, I think 17 really was where the, that freezing in the big tournament started. Because at least in 14, I can still say Sri Lanka were inspirational.
Not 16?
14.
No, 16 you were clearly overwhelmed by the better team. I'm sorry, West Indies were the better team. That India team did not convince me at all. You were one Bangladesh loss away from being out of the tournament, and you have only Bangladesh to thank for absolutely bottling it the way they do best. The only reason you went to the next round against West Indies, that West Indies was very power packed. I really didn't have much faith, and that's exactly how it panned out. 17, I think, was where that the brain thing that you're talking about started, because you were the clearly superior team to Pakistan.
You beat Pakistan in the first game by 150 runs.
124.
Exactly. And then after that, what happens? Key things don't go your way. Bumrah doesn't get Fakhar Zaman out on a no ball. He makes 100. Then your top 3, who you were so reliant on for runs, are mopped up by one bowler.
And that 100 for Fakhar Zaman wasn't just a 100, it was a really
dominant
impactful
100. That's the thing, it was a dominant 100.
He just took the game away.
And then even then there were other brain fades. Jadeja getting Hardik Pandya run out. Terrible. The one batter who looked like he was actually settling in and smacking a few, run out.
But do you think that would have went
He could
on
have got
for
you
long?
closer. And again, Pakistan.
He himself said that he was in the zone.
Yeah, he definitely was, in the zone. Yeah, he was hitting sixes for fun.
And this is Pakistan. There's a reason why in the 90s and early noughts they were nicknamed Panikistan. You get close enough and they would start trembling. If you had gotten there, who knows? You had the batters.
He was hitting Imad Wasim.
He was hitting Imad. He was smacking Imad.
He was not smacking Imad Wasim.
No, it wasn't Imad. It was
And Shadab.
Yes,
Imad also, I remember.
yes. So anyway,
not Imad.
I mean, whoever he was, it doesn't matter.
Imad
He was in the
didn't
zone. He was in the
He
zone.
didn't play the final.
That match you could have won, but again, see, so many key decisions going against you. Same thing happened in 2019.
Yeah.
Your again famed top 3. In that case, there was no top 3 because, of course, Dhawan had gotten injured after the first game. But what happened?
Top order.
Your top order went for a toss. Again, that bad half an hour. Again, to a swinging ball. Done. 21. Again, bad half an hour. With Shaheen Shah Afridi getting those 3 early wickets. Done, dusted, finished. 2022 was the nadir because again, you were playing so within yourself against the England team you knew were good. then you ended up losing by 10 wickets. So
Yeah.
actually, as much you have to look at it. Yes, there is a personnel aspect which has been there in certain World Cups. We know in 2019 there was no number 4. We know in 2021 the selection was all kinds of muddled. And 2022 continued that trend because your first spinner was R. Ashwin, who hadn't played a T20I for over a year at that point in time.
Yeah.
So you were shooting yourself in the foot, but also you had that fragile, frail mentality. You were scared. That continued in 2023 in the final, where again you froze, seeing, tricky conditions, let's consolidate. Did it work out for you? No. So of course it's in the mind. And the main thing, if India are to win, they have to overcome, they don't have to overcome South Africa, they have to overcome themselves.
Yeah, the
That is
mental,
main
the
thing.
mentality that is there, because you have to overcome those mental demons that has traumatized you for 10 years.
And
now.
it's taken hold, let's be honest. Let's make no bones about it.
Yep.
They may say, we're not thinking about the past, but everyone is thinking about the past.
See, Rohit himself acknowledged there is a fear of failure that haunts us. And see, this will only exacerbate the situation even more, because South Africa versus India, you look at their ICC history, if you look at it, you got an even record now in the ODI World Cup. It was 0-3 prior to 2015, now it is 3-all. Okay, in the Champions Trophy, you've not lost to them. You have a better head-to-head record in the T20 World Cup against them, 4-2, but you lost the last game that you played against them in Optus.
Yeah.
So, South Africa do tend to surprise opponents. Let's make it very, very clear. But it is in these key moments where South Africa have frozen more in the last 2 decades or so. Be it the T20 World Cups of 2009, be it the 2010 T20 World Cup, be it 2012. I mean, imagine, how could you lose when you had Pakistan 8 down and Umar Gul of all people hits you for 32 runs?
Exactly.
Okay, how could you lose that? And despite hitting 2 sixes of the final over, you still lose by 1 run to India. Now, I will come to that.
2007, they didn't even need to win that match, that group stage match. They just needed to get to 120 odd.
126.
Yeah, 126. They could get to 126, which wasn't even the target, and still make it through. They didn't get to that.
Yeah, they had to get to 126 to knock New Zealand out.
Yeah.
But they fell for 116. So that is why, which I will come to that one section a bit. So, on paper, this is a very even contest, but I think mentality wise, because India have got far more experience. I mean, look at it. In the space of 1 year, you made it to the final of a World Test Championship, you made it to the final of an ODI World Cup, you have now made it to the final of a T20 World
That's
Cup.
pretty much the case for the last 10 years now, that in almost all of the ICC tournaments, be it the Champions Trophy, T20 World Cup or the One Day World Cup, India have at least reached the semi-final.
So that is why, having reached more,
2021 being the norm.
yeah,
That's why I said most of.
you have now reached so many knockout stages and in the finals,
Yeah.
that now your mentality is like, okay, we've got an opponent that has just come for the first time ever in a major men's senior final. That is why I think mentally, skill wise, they are both equal. But mentally, I think India hold a big upper hand.
But see, that's where I'll play devil's advocate here. And see, this is where we are looking at all sides of it. You have to also understand one thing. We talk about South Africa and the 26 years since their readmission and the fact that they've not really done
32 years of
32
readmission.
years of readmission rather, since they've actually been able to win anything major, 26 years since 98. The fact of the matter is that this side, a lot of this side are relatively new. They haven't lived through the worst scars of those eras. I mean, the last time that South Africa bottled it really bad, 2015.
Yes.
After that, they've never really been in the reckoning.
Not 2022?
Yeah, 22 sure. 22
Because
sure.
why I'm saying it, because see, you got a Quinton de Kock, you got a David Miller, you've got an Andrit Nokia, you've got a Rabada, and I think you also had a Klaassen, you had a Markram, you had a Shamsi.
Maharaj, all were there.
So
all these
8
guys
guys out of that 2022 botch are still there. So that is why I don't know, but okay, that was it was made into a knockout because of circumstances outside.
Yeah.
were. Yeah.
Now, the batting has been on a prayer, if you look at for South Africa, because they have encountered tougher conditions than India.
Yeah, they played a lot of games in New York.
And they played in Arnos Vale.
Exactly.
And they played in Charuba also, which is, I would say, equally tougher.
It was tough.
The only game where they managed to do well was Antigua, 162. But even there, they were made to sweat because England somehow botched up 25 or 16. The death bowling this time holds the key. Because South Africa's death bowlers have bailed them out 4 times.
I'll correct you there. Remove depth, and you're absolutely spot on. The bowling was key. For this team, the batting is good, but same as India, I think the bowling has had a far bigger role in getting them to the finals.
Yeah.
Far bigger role.
Nortje, Rabada, and you mix it up between
Even
Bartman
Maharaj
and
also.
Shamsi.
Yeah.
Shamsi, I think
Shamsi last game got
even
3 more wickets.
Jansen.
Shamsi has close to, I think, 10 wickets in the few matches that he has played so far. 3 or 4 matches.
Yeah.
I just hope not to see a phone call celebration by him tomorrow.
And that man loves the long celebration. He'll run, jump, come on.
What is
Is
it
he
with
Imran
long?
Khan's-
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
What is it with South African spinners and long running celebrations?
Imran Tahir.
Tahir, yeah, so that's why. But yeah, Maharaj, there is a reel that's up on Sports Today where
For Rajasthan Royals, he predicted who the finalists would be.
he had predicted exactly it was India South Africa 1 month ago.
So there were 2 people who we know for a fact got their predictions right. Keshav Maharaj and me.
And Brian Lara.
And
So Shane is in the League of Legends.
I mean, yeah, I'm with a Maharaj and a Prince.
Of course. Royalty, man. That's
Royalty.
how it is. Shane and royalty go hand in hand in this T20 World Cup. So, now I'll come to that aspect by which everybody in the host broadcast and everything is focusing on. What is the most epic moment of South Africa choke that you can ever recollect? I mean, I'll give you options right from 1992 onwards, okay? 92 rain rule. 96 quarterfinal choke against West Indies, where they were unbeaten, but they choked in the quarterfinal. Bad team selection. 99, that tie. 2003, the DLS misinterpretation. 7, 11 and 15 undone by New Zealand and Australia. 19, not even in the reckoning. 22, the choke against Netherlands. 23, again unbeaten. They were beaten by a far better Australia team.
Rain rule I'll eliminate because that was partly the rule was very farcical.
Yeah.
We have to be very fair. I didn't know about this rain rule thing by the way because it was 92.
92.
Yeah, I was born in 93, so I had no idea. I never watched this. But later on, I remember we used to speak about it a lot, and I went back and looked at it and I'm like, what is this rule? It's classic cricket, the one sport that is governed by more rules than you could keep a count of, and they make a rule this complicated, and I'm like, why? It's so bad. So that I'll eliminate. Where I will say 2003 was hilarious for all the wrong reasons. 2003 and 2022. 2022, I remember. Okay, I'll tell you the scenes here in office because I was in Australia, right? So we were more often than not coming in much earlier than usual. 7-8 o'clock we'd be in office. And I'm coming in thinking, oh, this will be a formality match, and we'll just do a small discussion on sports. A formality match, my foot. I'm like, there's so many wickets falling. Can they actually? Are Netherlands going to do it? And by God, Netherlands did it.
When the
I'm like, how did you mess this up?
Yeah.
How do you mess this up? So that was again one of the other ones because again, this was a format and they had good players. Again, a lot of the score, you remove 1 or 2 of the bowlers and you had like someone like a Lungi Ngidi who troubled India to no avail in Optus. So you had good players. And I'm like, yeah, they should half puff but make it past the line, right? No, Netherlands.
and that allowed India and Pakistan to go through.
Exactly.
Okay, Sid, what is your moment of South Africa which makes you tear your hair out or like be totally perplexed? What is that one moment of South Africa?
I'll go with the 2003 World Cup game against Sri Lanka because see, in 2007, like I said, it was Australia outclassing them, and in 2011, New Zealand were pretty much triggered, or I would rather say motivated by the comments made by Faf du Plessis. 2015, I won't necessarily call it a choke. I think it was obviously,
wrong team selection.
Wrong team selection. Kyle Abbott, I still don't understand why
you dropped the best death overs bowler in Kyle Abbott for Vernon Philander just because you have to satisfy a quota. I'm sorry.
He was your standout bowler in the quarterfinal against Sri Lanka.
Why do you think he went Kolpak?
Yeah, he was so disappointed. I think that semi-final also broke AB. He was never the same again after that. In terms of
it was the end of a golden generation. Hashim Amla, then AB de Villiers, Dale Steyn, Mone Mokel. Imagine those guys have never won an event, yaar.
Then in I think 2015 was a couple of dropped catches also.
3 dropped catches and AB missing a run out.
Yes. 2019 obviously they weren't in the reckoning. I think more obviously 2022 can be be qualified as the number one choke. But for me, I think it has to be 2003 because that's where I think they did have a good chance to stay alive in the tournament and they could not.
It was a home World Cup.
Yeah.
Which one?
2003.
Yeah.
2003 was a home World Cup. Everyone, and that again, you're talking about legends of 2015. That Protea team was also next level. Yeah,
Entini, Pollock, Mockles.
Boucher.
I still remember, I think the problem started for
Smith,
South Africa.
Gibbs.
Problems began for South Africa from the first game itself. In the game against West Indies, they were bowling really, really well for the first 15-20 odd overs. Then out of nowhere, West Indies accelerated and they lost the match.
Yeah.
South Africa.
So what about you, Shashwat?
2015, because for me, I think those visuals, I can they can never really, get out of my
Oh, yeah, those
head.
guys in tears.
Yeah.
Grant Elliott.
So for me, I think 2015 was that moment.
A South African hurting
Yeah.
a South African. Where have we heard that? Random over and Grant Elliott.
Shivam has something to say.
Yeah.
Hey, I remember that Grant Elliott. My mom was admitted on hospital that day, and I watched a match on
Hospital TV. Yeah.
TV, and that Brendan McCullum start.
Oh,
and then
God.
with the ball one.
Back Baz McCallum.
Yeah. Oof.
And after that, Grant Elliott. That-
Superman.
Superman.
I'm a huge Dillispin fan, and I was not prepared for that.
It was bad. I mean those tears indeed showed that yes, South Africa
That
knew
was
they had missed a
heartbreaking.
golden chance.
But just to refresh your memories, I would really urge you to watch the match between South Africa and New Zealand of the 2014 T20 World Cup.
Oh,
The last over of Dale Steyn.
Iceman.
Oh.
That was Ross Taylor froze.
That was one of the
For
best
me-
finishes I have ever witnessed.
For me,
Ever.
I will go back to where it all started, the choke. Nothing can beat 1999.
Oh,
That semi-final. I mean, Steve Waugh himself admitted that Australia were on top of the game for just one ball. South Africa with Pollock and Donald absolutely decimating them for 213. Steve Waugh struggling, Michael Bevan struggling, but Bevan, his Iceman MS Dhoni-esque like knock ensured they got to 213. When Australia were batting, it was cloudy, there was swing, seam on offer. When they came out to bowl, it was sunny, no swing.
but there
Okay.
was plenty turn.
There came a magician called Shane Keith Vaughan, and the way how he dismissed Gibbs, he dismissed Kirsten, and he got Cronje out.
And Gibbs' delivery pitched outside leg and it turned from there.
It was self-plagiarization of 1993. He plagiarized his own work in 1999. And then, when there was, imagine Mark Boucher, in his debut World Cup, coming in with 16 needed of 9 balls with 2 wickets in hand. Which youngster at that time signs up for this kind of pressure?
Yeah.
That too with an Australian team. And then Lance Klusener, Zulu. 9 needed of 6 balls. The 2 fours that he hits, every commentator, every novel or every analyst says those 2 hits to the boundary were the hardest hit shots in the history of the game.
And don't forget, this is at a time when you didn't have 2 new balls.
Yeah.
So that was last over of a ball that was considerably softening. So he would have had to really absolutely thump it for it to be reaching.
with that 2.5 kilo willow that he had, Zulu, 1 of 4, and the third ball, Donald survives the run out because he had backed out too much. So Lehman misses the throw. Then there is no business that Australia winning. But because Donald was so frozen,
he didn't run.
the next ball, Klusener dashed out. But because I had backed up, I was run out. He came back, but he said, "Oh no, what's he doing?" He tried running. Mark Waugh, he just back flicked the throw. Then Damien Fleming, wary that he shouldn't throw, rolled it along. Gilchrist whips the bails off. Australia through by how much of a net run rate differential? 0.01. That's when the choking word began, and the most famous words that are uttered by a South African fan: "Why didn't you run, Donald? Why didn't you run?" So it's gonna be very, very interesting.
Quickly, before we take, and this is just one word answers.
Yeah.
Who are we picking?
India.
Same.
The 11-year jinx is ending.
Yeah.
South Africa.
I really want to know the reasons why you're picking South Africa.
One
You
word
need to
answer.
watch the video that I did with the debate for that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There are multiple reasons, but I think I can give you one major reason as to why I feel they are better prepared, because South Africa have seen, I think, almost all of the situations that you need to see as a team in a World Cup. They have won while batting first, they won while batting second. India, on the other hand, have won a couple of matches while batting second, but they are yet to be tested in a chase where there's a formidable bowling team.
But don't you think that that is also the fact that India hasn't just reached their peak yet, and that is a good thing, because previously in ICC tournaments what I have seen is that India starts really on a high and then kind of dips. But this time I've seen a different sort of thing, that they did not start at the 100% of their game, gradually started getting there. I think the Australia game was close to that 70-80%. The semi yesterday, the game was sort of 90ish percentage. So I think the best game is still yet to come for India as well.
But that's one way of looking at things, and I completely agree with it. But then let's just assume that South Africa bat first in the final. If they score 180 or 185, then pressure is on India.
Yeah,
that's the point there, because this is where I feel
but
South Africa are better prepared.
A lot of things rely on the toss also then.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot will rely on that. And that's where I think it's not about having maybe giving South Africa 70 or 30. It's just 51-49,
Okay.
and that's where I feel South Africa are slightly ahead of India, because they have seen what is meant to be seen for a team,
And that's fair.
in a World Cup.
For me, I
Who are we
feel
picking?
India.
India.
Yeah.
Me too.
So it's
But I'm
4-1.
60-40.
So it's close. It's not-
It won't
For
be
me
it
also
won't be one
60-40.
sided.
That's also
डर का
60.
माहौल है after 2023 final.
And when you pick South Africa,
You should be very confident. You know why?
He picked England. in the
No, he
semi-final.
picked Sunrisers Hyderabad on the final day. The only one to do so.
I also picked Afghanistan to reach Super 8. Nobody picked
Blah
them.
blah blah
No,
blah.
Brad
blah.
Lara did. Brad Lara did.
but in case of South Africa, this is your prediction.
See,
very, very good.
You can be very assured about the fact if Siddharth Gulati picks an opposition team, that opposition team loses. So
Wow.
that
Anyhow,
is the way.
comments.
Yeah, comments.
You just need to make a prediction and stick to it by logic. There's nothing right, there's nothing wrong.
Gotcha.
Mayank Gupta says.
There are some green shades in South Africa's jersey. Green.
Yeah, but I don't like that green jersey.
But I'm not wearing a green tomorrow. Yeah.
But Indian players like that, no? That green.
I'll
For
sign
sure.
off with a very.
But they also have a yellow in their jersey, so.
Yeah, with a
I'm
cliched but a
scared.
famous cricket line. May the best team win.
May the best team win. So-
Anyhow, back to the comments and let's start off. Mayank Gupta says 2007 India lost in West Indies under Dravid. 2024 India are going to win in West Indies under Dravid. Kabir Khan from Chak De India moment. Kohli hitting a last ball 6 in the chest tomorrow. My God, I really hope it doesn't reach.
Yeah, please.
We will have no
Stuff of
fingernails.
dreams.
We'll have
Stuff
no
of
fingernails. Nothing
Yeah.
left.
I mean, in 2007, Dravid had his ultimate rock bottom moment when India were knocked out in the league stages.
Yeah,
of
and he was the
2007.
captain of that team.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, he's coming back to a venue where he had tasted even greater disaster 10 years prior. 120 in a test match that they had to chase,
They didn't.
and they fell for 81
And Siddharth is talking about an India-West Indies test in 1997.
in Barbados.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, was brought up to him in the press conference when one of the press conferences in the previous games, which they played
Yeah.
in Barbados, he was not a happy champion.
He wasn't. I mean, it was Sachin Tendulkar admits that this is the biggest regret that I have in his entire life as a
Oh,
captain.
yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
But still, Rahul Dravid still has good memories of Caribbean. He was the captain of the team that won the test series in 2006.
Yes. Shubham Garg is saying, since 2014, India has lost knockout matches to all top teams except South Africa. India and SA are the only top 8 teams who has not won any ICC trophy since 2014.
That's an interesting.
True that. I mean,
he's right.
India and South Africa played in the semi-final of 2014. So one of them will had to go to the final where they lost. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Shekhar GTN should change your name to Indian now because
Yeah.
IPL season's long gone. Good morning, gents, and Jai Hind. Tomorrow in Bridgetown, we'll witness Jai Shah's aspirations. Barbados mein jhanda garenge for 1.4 billion dreams to come to.
I mean, if that happens, it is
Giving me
truly,
goosebumps already.
it will be a very, very
Shiv, scroll
historic
down.
thing. It will be a historic thing if it happens for another simple reason, which I'll tell later.
So Shubham Garg has a comment that if South Africa bat first, India should seriously think if they should get Riza out, as a 35 of 35 from him might just leave less balls for Klassen, Miller and Stubbs.
yeah, he's basically their KL Rahul of this one.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
right?
because
But I think-
I feel that, and I think it's not just about me thinking about it, because it's a proven record also that South Africa's middle order, which is power packed, Klassen, Miller, then you have
Markram. And Stubbs.
They have a very good record against Indian spinners, and Klassen in particular,
Klassen in particular.
takes a liking to Kuldeep Yadav. So that's where I feel, looking at many things now, South Africa, I still feel they're slightly ahead
Because
of
I'll
India.
tell you why. Klaasen's not been in form. For the past 2 months, he's not been in form.
Yeah.
He's actually lost form since the second half of the IPL.
Yes,
His form
yes.
kind of nosedive.
And the simple thing is, if the Indian cricket team has to know, get Arshdeep on early and you'll get Quinton de Kock. Because de Kock struggles very badly against left-arm
Weirdly
pace.
against left
No, but on big days we have seen players whom we go prepared for. They end up, getting out early, and then the players.
Then
were
you get
not-
some unexpected
yeah.
out of syllabus question.
2016 Lendl Simmons,
I mean, here see,
Samuels.
look at it. If you look at the 2024 batch and you rewind 16 years late prior to that, Reza Hendricks, Virat Kohli, Ravindra Jadeja, all in that 2008 final that they had played in. So it is not going to be a very one-sided encounter. We hope that South Africa do put up a fight. It is going to be a close encounter. Two teams, as I said, which will be the tougher streak to end. A 26-year jinx or a 11-year jinx.
painful way.
You know, it would be really funny though if South Africa end up winning a T20 World Cup 2 years after India invested in the T20 league.
Exactly. And remember, I had countered you.
To the point where it's a mini IPL.
Exactly. I countered you by saying 16-0. The number 16
Markram.
is. India will always end a streak at 16. Australia 2 times.
Which tomorrow it's happening.
It is happening. I mean, I backed India even in the debate against him. So,
Yeah, we've all except for Siddharth back.
Yes,
India,
Sidney
which is
sir.
good.
Gulati, please.
Even Sidney sir will dance tomorrow if we win. Yeah, with Shane sir.
Anyway, let's.
Done.
Are we done?
Then I'm not joining.
No. Even you will dance then.
No,
Yeah, all
yeah,
of
we'll
us
put
will
the blue paint over you.
All done.
We'll just take 1-2 more other ones.
Yeah.
And
Show them our love as well. Yeah, come on.
exactly.
We love our
let's
family.
see.
We love the whole family.
Anshul Oberoi says, I also favor the young team, but experience matters on these pitches. The Rocco Jodi is a perfect combo for this. I believe it's very difficult for a Yashasvi to play on these type of pitches. Management made the right decision. I'll hold off on that thought until you bring the trophy home, because
Exactly.
again, if you end up seeing players freeze on the final, then again questions will be asked.
Okay,
Could
but
you just read that? I cannot read it. I'm not wearing specs. That one. After Priyanshu's.
Malik says, I appreciate freedom of speech in your show. Just do not start nitpicking on getting Virat and Rohit back if we lose. If you have to do it, then do it now. Oh, Malik.
Why I wanted you to take this question was that even if India wins or loses,
I think
I am
think
of the
this
same
is the
opinion.
end of Virat and Rohit in
I'm
T20
still of
World
the
Cup.
same opinion that it should have been a younger team this time.
And
Even if India wins, then
And if they do win, please let them ride off onto into the sunset.
That's why I wanted to take this question, because then tomorrow.
The Indian team will undergo a massive transition after this World Cup. T20 teams.
No, we
Yeah,
thought this in 2021.
No, but now they will.
2022.
Now they will.
see, what if Rowe and Co don't perform, but still India win? What do you do then? It'll be a very mixed kind of a thing, because
then it will be like, the juniors did it for the seniors, but then, this is something that I don't
Is somebody
really appreciate
lifting
in
Virat
this
and
sport.
Rohit on their shoulders tomorrow? Are we going to see that?
I think
Mr.
that's-
Shekhar says that South Africa have an explosive middle order, but all you need is de Kock, Markram and Miller. Their pace is a threat. Mostly Jansen's first over and Rabada as well. I'll add Nokia. In the middle overs, he's been phenomenal this
and
World Cup.
if I have to say, if you want to tackle your main spin threat, it's Keshav Maharaj.
Yeah.
Maharaj.
Wiley.
He's somebody we aren't talking about.
Okay, just one word answers before I think we call it night. Any changes for India and South Africa?
No.
Same question is
I'm
For
getting
South
some,
Africa, if the pitch is this thing,
Yeah.
then they might swap Batman and
With Shamsi.
Otherwise, no.
whatever the conditions, I'd go with Shamsi.
Shamsi?
I think South Africa and India are both playing the same team.
Yeah, same team.
Same team for
I
me.
want a change in
Yeah.
the Indian team.
Yeah, yeah.
I want Jaiswal to open.
Huh?
And who
Now?
goes out? Who goes out?
Dubey.
Now you want this change?
Yes.
No.
Your every
Jaiswal,
your cards is
Jaiswal
open.
will be next.
Your plan is open.
Direct on final.
See, it
Yeah.
could be tempting,
You are right.
but
I don't think you're making any changes. Not in a final.
not in a final.
Okay then.
Whatever has won you all these games, I think you're not making the change at this point. You're sticking with the same 11 that played in the semi-final and the Super 8s at this point in time. And I don't know, if you play on a used pitch in Barbados, we don't know. Well, it's a new
It
pitch.
might
We
be an
don't
even
know.
low scoring game.
Could be.
So we'll take your leave and join you guys tomorrow. This time tomorrow.
Tomorrow by 6.
Let's see.
This time tomorrow we will be already in the midst of the final.
Yeah, the first over would have been bowled.
Yes,
Yeah.
exciting times indeed.
Except no rain, please.
Please, no rain, God. I don't like the forecast. It's not very good. But one way or the other, let's just hope we get a game. Anyway, that's
Yeah.
for tomorrow, for tomorrow's worries.
Till
Now-
then, you'll get all the build-up.
Yes,
on
plenty of
Sports
build-up
Today.
still coming your way from Nikhil, from us. Everything under the sun, all coming your way very soon from the world of sport. Right now, though, from all four of us is goodbye, Nandri, Vanakkam, Shubh Ratri, Shabba Khair. Eat your vegetables.
And don't
Don't trouble your
And
mother.
subscribe to Sports Today.
Less than
Also,
24
Press the
hours.
bell icon.
Yeah, and also
Bell
one
icon.
more thing. There's going to be a new YouTube channel that's
Yeah,
going to be launched
from
after the
August.
World Cup, Vishy Wine. So please subscribe.
No,
to
that's
that.
from August.
When that happens.
That's
That
from
means
August. They announced that.
I have to prepare my
No,
resignation
you're
by
allowed
August.
to do non-cricketing content.
ये
That
भी
is
मैं
allowed.
चाहता हूँ, यही मेरा plan है.
यही तो तुम्हारा plan है. Okay, so bye bye guys. Less than 24 hours to go for the final.
Bye.
See you.